good to be with fellow entrepreneurs that engage over a workshop like this. So quick show of hands, how many of you are startup entrepreneurs? Okay, so almost everybody. So those who didn't put up their hands, what are you guys? Are you budding entrepreneurs, wannabe entrepreneurs, what is it? Or we have some other kinds here? So who didn't put up the hands? What's your background like? What do you do? But you're not a startup, you're advanced. That's what I'm studying now. Okay. So everybody is running a business of some kind. Anybody other than that? You're running multiple. Okay, that's what. Good. So I think I just wanted to get a sense because I think we're trying to cater the program content towards this kind of an audience. So hopefully it becomes relevant. So like I said, almost 8-9 years back was when I have been doing exactly almost the same topic workshop for Thai. So you wonder that, this is like a digital marketing 101 kind of a thought, at least from a title point of view. And it was definitely very relevant 8-9 years back. Today I suspect that almost all of you would have got started with some or the other form of digital marketing for your own ventures. So I don't think we need to go at the absolute fundamental of like what is digital marketing and things like that. Having said that, the space constantly evolves, right? So new platforms, new changing, the audience changes, the number of users in India have kind of kept going up. It's been English for a long time, but now it's all, the next growth is coming from regional languages. And of course, there's all kinds of technology evolution going from text to video to voice and everything. So in this extremely fast changing scenario in the digital marketing space, as an entrepreneur who's already doing so many things, trying to run a business, how do you really cope up? Especially with something which is integral to your business. For most businesses today, digital marketing would not be optional. It would be necessary, right? Because that's the most efficient way of marketing. And because of that, and the fact that it's constantly changing, how do you really grapple with it? How do you find your answers? How do you kind of create some decent strategy which you can run, which can benefit your business? That's basically what we will attempt to do in the course of this morning. I'm sure all of you have your own individual issues which may not necessarily get addressed, and hopefully we can do a good Q&A or if anyone stop in between, because finally the objective of this session is to deliver some value for all of you. So it's not about what I want to tell you, but I'd rather answer the kind of questions that you may have. So in case something is not covered in the course of what we are saying, let's have that interactive discussion, and hopefully in the course of that I give you some tips, some suggestions which might be useful to you. Right. Today I have with me my colleagues here, Shrikant and Janki, who are going to help me through the workshop. 2-3 hours of talking, I don't think I will be able to go more. No, I can, but I really want them to also, because they are the guys who are actually in the trenches now. They run digital media strategy for clients on a day-to-day basis, and they are my colleagues at Mirum. I think through the promotional material that Thai sent out, you probably have a little background about me. I currently run this agency called Mirum, which is part of WPP, and it's a full services digital media agency. And our main office is just down the road on the LBS park in Ghatopar. We're about 250 people or so across Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad. We started out this agency as Social Label. That used to be our name when we started way back in 2009. We were acquired by WPP in 2014, And in 2015, we were sort of rebranded as Mirum. Mirum is around the world. Mirum is in 25 countries or 2,500 Mirum people around the world. So we are part of this global digital agency network. And in case you have further questions about how did this grey-haired man get into a field like digital media, because it's supposed to be the space of young people. I had a previous startup before this that was called homeindia.com, which I started way back in 1998. We were selling ethnic Indian products to customers outside India on a pure B2C e-commerce space. So we were selling clothing and jewelry and handicrafts sitting here in India and delivering it one piece at a time to customers in Chicago and LA and Sydney and London and everywhere. So that was a startup which I ran for a good 9 years. That was also the time I was very active with Thai, because Thai was a great support in terms of networking and connections and investors and everything. So my association with Thai runs for a long time. So that was where I sort of picked up my initial learnings of the online space. That was when we managed to use a screen to convince a customer to pull out his credit card and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in India to a customer who's there. They didn't know my brand. Our brand was homeindia.com. So if you can manage to create that kind of trust, that kind of an imagery about yourself that I just see a screen. I'm not some Amazon or some big brand. I'm homeindia.com sitting in India, and there's a customer, NRI or a white American or whoever, sitting on his home in some town in the US, feeling confident enough to put his credit card out, make a payment, and then wait for my product to reach him. So if I manage to do the right things to create that kind of a business, so that's when we learned how to really handle an online consumer. So that learning then came in, and this is so to say a second startup which we created in social level, and all that sort of experience. Hopefully, I'm happy to share in the form of this session. More than 20 years in the digital space. So with that, we'll just start going ahead. Next slide. So, like I said, the first challenge, the first question is that all of you as entrepreneurs are doing so many other things. I'm sure, from recruitment to product to operations, and then there's marketing. And then there was marketing where, you can send out an email, newsletter, and that should be it. But now there is this whole gamut of digital marketing which seems to change every day. Is Facebook the right thing, or should I go to Instagram, or should I have a blog, or should I be creating my videos? Every day people will tell you different things, and you as if you had all the time in the world with nothing else to do. You're already doing so many things. In that you have to find your way. So that's a challenge. So with recognizing that, why digital? I think again, it might almost sound like a rhetoric question. Does anybody still have a doubt that you need to use digital marketing? Do I need to convince anybody? No hands up, no hands going up. So do I need this slide? No. But let me just see what is going. Quickly, what it's just that, just to reiterate, it's an enormous audience that digital reaches in terms of numbers. I mean, if you had the money, you could go on television, on Republic TV when 23rd May election results are coming out, and you get an audience. But that's only on 23rd May and only a few channels, right? Even on television, the audiences got so dispersed and obviously most of us don't have that kind of money to do that. So the next best thing at a much cost-effective way is digital, and you're able to also do very personalized communication. So digital allows all of us to communicate different things to different people, the right message, the most relevant message. All of us, for our products and services, don't necessarily have the one type of customer. There are different kinds of customers. If you are offering some kind of a service, you may have a B2B customer, you may have a B2C customer, you may have a customer who's early stage startups, you might have an enterprise customer, you may have a customer who's an owner, you might have a customer who is a procurement officer in his company. Now all of these and various other ways you slice your audience means that you have to tell all of them different things. You have to communicate different value propositions that you offer to them, and hence you would ideally like to have a one-on-one communication with them. However, most mass media won't allow that. You have to put your create an ad in this fire, and it's like a one-size-fits-all. But digital, thankfully, allows you to do very focused, very personalized communication to your audience. So that's the other great thing. And the next part is that it's measurable. Whatever you do, you are actually, to a large extent, you're able to measure to the rupee in terms of what happened with the money you spent. So if you spend money, exactly how many people saw that ad, how many people clicked, how many people came to your website, how many people filled the form, how many people went ahead and actually purchased from your e-commerce site, all of those are measurable. So you can go back and say which of your marketing strategies in digital was the most impactful, the most effective. So with all that, I mean, when you do an ad in the newspaper or you put a hoarding here, there are thousands of people going past it, and then somebody walks into your store. Are we even able to relate that this guy came through what marketing strategy initially? It's very hard to really measure. But because of, through digital, these marketing activities are extremely well measurable. So you can pull in and pull out your funds depending on what's working for you. You don't have to give a release order and then a few crores get burnt out and then you realize, oh, it didn't work. So here it's a very finely trackable and finely controllable, because you don't need to, there's no big spend which just goes away. You spend, you can stop, you can pause, everything is possible. So quick, look at some numbers. So the mobile subscription, mobile phones or SIMs or whatever you call it, and the number of internet users, the number of people who are active on social media, the kind of time spent per day on social media, the enormously growing digital marketing pie, advertising pie in India. So all of these are numbers which keep growing month after month, not even year after year. Because there is validation, it's working. More and more people, at 560 million on internet users, we still have a long way to go in terms of our population. And now the next wave of reach in tier 2, tier 3 villages, all that has started, regional and is becoming big. So all the numbers are going up. So whatever kind of business you may be having, there was a time when we started in 2009, 2010, and you would go to an FMCG company and you say, oh, this is so exciting. They would say that, all this is good. But a large part of my audience is still not here. I sell to the rural world and I sell to small towns. Today, nobody can say that. Pretty much anything that you're doing, any kind of product, any kind of service, there's a good chance that 100% of your audience is on some online platform. And hence, you can reach them. Right? What else would your 100% of your audience be doing? Does 100% of the audience that you have your client read the Times of India? Does 100% of the people watch a particular program at a particular time on television? They don't. But I think 100% of your audience, there's a good chance that they are online. And hence the kind of way in which you can address your market through digital is phenomenal. So what we're going to do to get, it's not that, it's just in the matter of a reference, a couple of 2 or 3 of our work, our client work, just to set context in terms of, and as we go ahead after that, to kind of keep referring to this as to how the strategy was created or what we did here. So there is a real example which you can relate to. The kind of businesses or the size of the business may not connect necessarily with yours, but it's just for reference. And like I said earlier, beyond these, we will love to have Q&A from you about your issues, your questions, your businesses. But from a point of view of just giving a reference, we're going to run or talk about a couple of our campaigns just to set the context.
So 並のリュークだ。さっきの様子だと、もうそれがただのノートじゃないって分かってるんだ。
Confused? That's what mutual funds sounded like to Indians. And that's why billions of Indians had already said nahi to mutual funds investments. To reach them, it was important to speak in a language they understood. Thus, the art of conversation was born. Simple and everyday lingo was the way to go. The journey started from print, radio, TVCs.
सुनना, बोनस मिला है। क्या करूँ? म्यूचुअल फंड में डाल दे। सिर्फ 6,000 का बोनस। क्यों गरीब का मजाक कर रहा है? भाई, 500 रुपये शुरुआत कर सकते हैं। मैंने भी किया है। डाल दे।
And it continued on to digital, where the inclusive conversations began.
Typically, my typical individual will not even consider mutual funds because he thinks that the amount is too small. Get it all of it. Now, you can very well start investing in mutual funds with a small amount.
Our intuitive strategy anticipated the journey of the users and provided information that they needed. We closed the loop by leading the users to start investing with any of our AMC partners. Our snackable content in the form of short videos,
आज मैं आपको लॉन्ग टर्म, मिड टर्म और शॉर्ट टर्म म्यूचुअल फंड्स के बारे में बताने वाला हूँ।
infographics, video graphics, and GIFs made sure the users could relate to mutual funds. The campaign was also supported by strong content on social platforms. With the help of listening tools, we interacted with people by conversing with them in a way they understood and appreciated. We went hyper-local in targeting specific users, such as the aspirational traveler or the future car owner. We even opened up the conversation to new geographies, simply by tweaking the language we communicated in. Taking the conversation from mutual funds nahi to mutual funds sahi hai.
I suppose several of you must have seen this campaign outside. It was a very visible campaign. I think the point to be made here, multiple points here, right? So, first of all, just to set the context, this was a campaign run by the Association of Mutual Funds of India. It's like all of your competitors coming together and say, hey, let's not fight, let's just grow the category. So first of all, that was amazing. Does it ever happen really that you and your competitors say, hey, let's, instead of fighting, let's grow the category. So this was path-breaking in a sense, that association actually thought in that sense, right? Now, it was not that the individual funds had not tried before, right? All of them were advertising, all of them were doing all kinds of investor education, but the challenge was that while those who had invested in mutual funds continued to invest and probably invest more, the investor base was not growing. More new investors were not coming in. So that was a key challenge that was to be addressed. And the way the strategy was developed after a lot of research, obviously, when we got on board, we were selected to be the agency along with our parent company, which is JWT, for the mainline part. JWT, J. Walter Thompson was going to do the television and print and all that, and we were doing the entire digital piece. When we got on board, the first challenge for us was that what can we do that 44 mutual funds have already not done in the past? Because they have done enough, right? When you see the HDFC mutual fund and Reliance mutual fund and ICICI mutual fund and SBI mutual fund, with enough advertising, enough marketing that they have done, if they have not been able to seriously move the needle in terms of the growth of investor base, what new thing can we come up and do and make a difference? But today, looking back after 2.5, 3 years, it's been one of the most successful campaigns. And I'm not just saying in terms of looking good and being visible and winning awards, but in terms of sheer growth of the industry, in terms of the new folios added, as they call it, and the amount of investment is coming, the reach to a common person. I mean, today a lot of people who were never talking about mutual fund are saying mutual fund invest type of thing. So in terms of impact, it's been phenomenally successful campaign. So let's look at the strategy, because we're talking about this being a strategy workshop. What was the strategy? First of all, what was understood? Like, you have to understand the core insight that what was happening. One very simple insight which was understood is people were not even talking of mutual funds. Okay, so it's not about talking when you're meeting your financial advisor or something. Casual talk happens when you are at the water cooler, when you are with your friends in a social gathering, when you are at the club having a drink and chatting with your friends. So there was talk about everything from, of course, the typical, the cricket and the film and the politics, but there was talk, if you talk about investment, there was talk about real estate and gold and shares, but nobody was talking mutual funds. So that was the fundamental issue which was found. So the campaign started by saying that we'll make it the art of conversation. We'll just get mutual funds into the conversation. And how was that achieved? By an initial television campaign which showed multiple scenarios. So there were multiple campaigns. Now, okay, it's television. If you have to do it, you could do it on digital. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying that the audio visual was what? There was one audio visual where there were two people on a golf course and they happened to come to talk about each other. The one which you saw, there were two people in a railway bogie, in a typical Mumbai local. In that, as if the mutual fund just comes into conversation. There was another one where there were two people having samosa and chai at a katta, and there they stopped talking. There was another one where there were two women in a parlor and they were talking to each other and mutual fund came in. So there were multiple different scenarios which were shown to kind of get identification to different kinds of audiences who could relate to that particular scenario. And they could see, oh, there's a mutual fund. And then, of course, there was very high visibility of this campaign. So that got the trigger that, ye kya hai mutual fund? You know, this mutual fund idea was bombarded and then got the trigger. Now, that's not enough to open your checkbooks and start signing a check for mutual fund. That got enough curiosity to come to the website. Okay, that's where our role started. Now again, if I make a website of mutual funds to be like an HDFC mutual funds website or a Reliance mutual fund website, it would not make any difference. It would not make an impact. So first thing which we kind of analyzed and realized is that there were some typical 5-6 reasons why people were not investing in mutual funds. One was that every mutual fund ad would say mutual funds are subject to risk, etc., etc. So the risk thing was in your head. So you're saying risky hai, but you still want people to invest. So that was the one challenge. There were other things like people thought I need to have a lot of money before investing. You know, that's why I said 500 se bhi shuruaat ho sakti hai. So we identified some 6 issues which were holding people back. Okay. Now when a person lands up on the website, how do I know that what is holding this person back? Why is he not investing? I don't know, because it could be any investor who happens to come to the website. So what we did was to put those 6 big video links right at the top, each one addressing a known typical issue. किसी को risk का issue है, किसी को 500 रुपये वाला नहीं आया, don't have enough money. So those 6 identified results with a video were right there. So as somebody lands up, he hopefully finds something which connects. Say, okay, it's not risky, rewarding hai, something like that. So say, okay, but you've been telling me this, so let me see what this is. And they could click the video. The videos that you saw, earlier the videos of a lot of mutual funds used to have this guy in a suit and tie, you know, like a typical banker trying to explain jargon like NAV and SIP and all that, which never connected with the common audience, right? So here there is a common guy, so your typical friendly neighbor, who is telling you things in his very friendly language, in a language, in an analogy way where you can relate to it, right? So he is explaining risk like that, or he is explaining the minimum spent in the same way. So you are making that connection. So you pick only one issue and nothing more than the one issue, about the risk or about minimum investment, etc. And the video was no more than 90 seconds at the most. Because you know, earlier investor education videos used to be 20 minutes. Like, who's going to last that long, right? All that jargon in your area. It was designed to fail. So here we talk about very short videos. But obviously, again, if I just tell you, okay, yeah, risk nahi hai, does that convince a person to invest? Not yet. I just made one point. After every video, because now at least I know this guy was doing this video about risk. He has risk as a concern. And I showed him this one video. After that, there were 3 related links related to the risk, saying that, अच्छा risk नहीं है तो आप ये क्यों बोलते हो कि at the end of every year, why do you say mutual fund is subject to risk? Tell me that. So that was the next question. So after every video, there would be 2 or 3 relevant links. So you would click that. Once you click, you would see another video or some other form of content, short content, easy to absorb. I mean, the whole thing was to do what others had not done, to do something different, and to also understand the consumer's mindset about how he is thinking. So you take him to the next step and the next step. At every point where every answers were given, while there were links to go forward, there was also a little button called I am ready to invest. So depending on when you tip him, okay, now you told me enough, I am ready to invest. So then he clicks and he moves forward. So it was almost like a guided tour, step-by-step tour, at their own pace, and one step at a time, one issue at a time, moving them forward to actually getting the investment. And of course, all that content and social media and all that was supporting it. Had to, so it was a really large, continues to be a very large 360-degree kind of a campaign. Obviously, budgets are higher, and I'm sure not all of us can relate to that kind of scale, but it's a question of understanding, that you first understand insights, what was the challenge, how do you approach a challenge, how do you address it very, very specifically, how do you take baby steps with your customer to moving ahead in the customer journey till the point that they actually become your client. So that was the whole strategy. So these were other creative approaches. Yeah. The other one is again another client of ours called Franklin Templeton. Now Franklin Templeton has been an old client again. As it were, it's another mutual fund client, so just happens to be coincidentally. So we're talking about how we did differently for Franklin Templeton. Again, this has been 7-8 years back that we started working with them. And while in their official statement about what the brand stands for and what are their taglines are, it's very very technical from a mutual fund industry perspective, that benefit from our research and this and that. Again, we realized that won't connect with an ordinary consumer on social media. So along with the client, we debated and we came up with this line called Invest for Tomorrow. Because mutual funds are not something which are quick gains. So fundamentally, you also are saying that, don't come to invest with the expectation of an overnight gain or something. So it's an investment. Think about the future. It's all subtle. I mean, it's not stated, but Invest for Tomorrow stands for that. Now, how do we make it interesting? I can't keep telling every day invest for tomorrow, invest for tomorrow. It gets boring. So there were things which we did. Like there was a program we did around planting trees, and the message was plant trees for investing in the earth's tomorrow. And the unspoken word was just like you would invest in Franklin Templeton for your financial tomorrow. Or there was a program which we did for education with Akanksha. Again, it was a question that invest in tomorrow's children, because it's our future tomorrow, they are going to be running the world tomorrow. Subtle unspoken message being invest in Franklin Templeton for your financial tomorrow. So that is the kind of ways in which we related. Next slide. And then we did this amazing, it's our campaign, I'm saying so myself, but we really are fond of this campaign. It's an amazing campaign called the Marathon of Life. Again, the interesting thing was, we identified some 6 people who were marathoners, but who had a different context in their running. And those principles of what they were about, their running life, human side story was, in a way connected back to the investment philosophy. So there were principles like
stories have immense power. The best form of storytelling happens when a brand lets the story be the hero. Franklin Templeton Investments chose to tell the story of 6 runners woven around important life lessons, which can be adopted when it comes to one's investments. Something that no investment brand had tried before. Life lessons like be resilient, start early, have a goal, never too late to begin, step up, have the right guidance, which are important principles in life and can also be used as principles for successful investing. The Marathon of Life campaign created an impact beyond social media and entered the conversations of popular media vehicles and influencers. The campaign achieved more than 66 million impressions overall. It generated over 13 million video views. We also ensured that every user views all the 6 videos through effective remarketing techniques. The campaign garnered over 10 million engagements, the highest the brand has ever accomplished. All this positive engagement also got the Marathon of Life trending on Twitter, globally at number 14 and number 3 in India. Once again, a first for the brand. Over 250 people shared their powerful and extraordinary stories of grit and triumph on the Marathon of Life microsite. This increased the overall interest in the brand, which led to a 64% increase in visitors on our website, thegoodemi.com. Most importantly, the campaign gave us an opportunity to have almost 2,500 one-to-one digital conversations with people. It became a medium for informal and candid conversations between the brand and people. A special Marathon of Life booklet was created and circulated in leading personal finance magazines in India and also shared through on-ground activities with our distributors and potential investors. Thus, the Marathon of Life became more than 6 inspirational stories. It became a platform to engage on conversations about life and investments.
So again, some of the key learning of this is that when we did this stories, if you get a chance to see the actual video of the 6 runners, you'll see that almost till the last maybe 5% of the video, Franklin Templeton does not even come in the video. It's all about the particular hero, the runner we were talking about. So it's a very important part that you keep the viewer engaged in something he likes. As soon as you start making it look like an advertisement, there is a turn off. People go away because why should they spend time listening to your advertising? So the point was to get the right kind of interest from the users through that human interest story, and somewhere at the end related back to the investment part, not to force fit it. The part which you saw somewhere you mentioned is a remarketing thing. It's something which actually all of us experience, and some of you might be aware also. But what happens is that when you go to, let's say, a travel portal and try to book tickets from Mumbai to Delhi, and maybe you don't book, but after that, whenever you go on Google, there are ads chasing you, cheap tickets to Delhi, etc. But in some sense, this is a concept of remarketing. This is a easy fixed concept because they know exactly your intention that you want to travel Mumbai to Delhi, so they are chasing you. But here also, if we saw that somebody came and saw one video, obviously there was something which connected him, there was an interesting human interest story. How do I make him see the next and the next and the next? I have 6 videos. So the same remarketing works and prompted him to see the next video. That way you're getting the consumer, your client or a prospect to engage in a lot of your content. You're invested in creating content. Now you want the right people to see it. So these kind of techniques. So some learnings, others will keep seeing as we talk about, but the context of this campaign will show it here. And just one quick one, just from a slightly B2B side, because the first 2 are probably more in the P2C space. So this is a laminates company. Well, I mean, of course, the consumer also can buy laminate, but more often than not, it is purchased through the intermediary, the architect or the interior decorator who recommends the product. So here, again, the creative way in which to make your content engaging is what we have been using for these multiple brands. So you could be showing a typical shade card or something which goes into a boring space. So how do you connect with different kind of creatives, whether you connect a particular shade to the Taj Mahal or you know, Chameleon or whatever. It's just, you have to break the clutter from the way, and you know, instead of boring and typical stuff, you try to create a context. Finally, everybody is getting just too much you know, marketing content in their face on digital. So if you want your content to stand out, you want it to be different, you have to do things differently. And this is an example. I mean, there are many different ways in which you do it. This was just an example of how you stand out and break the clutter and get your creative visible. So that was just a few examples to set context. Like I said, we will refer sometime when we talk about other principles, like look how we did it in Amphi or how we did it for Franklin Temple's, because you've seen it a little bit now. What we want to do is that, what are we kind of trying to achieve in the course of the afternoon, morning is, how do you develop a strategy? Like first is, do you have an understanding of who your consumer or your target audience is? Who are your competitors? So that's the first part, to be able to understand who you are addressing. Second is actually developing a strategy for them by understanding first of all again what your objectives are. Why is it that you are on digital media, digital marketing, what exactly you are trying to achieve. There is a huge element of content, as you can see from Amphi, Mutual Fund Sahi or Franklin Templeton, and there is a content, and it doesn't have to be always big fancy films, but even text, even blogs, even simple videos, all of them are types of content. What are the different platforms and what are the benefits and where do you use which one, why do you use which one? How do you actually handle the implementation? How do you manage day-to-day work on digital media? What is the way to do measurement of impact? And then at the end we'll see what are some of the new updates, new trends, new technologies. So we'll try to cover all this as we can. So what we get, I think all of you seem to have, what we're attempting, depending on time available, is that as we cover things, can we have you try to relate the principle for your own business, right? So while we might talk about an Amphi or a Greenland or whatever, we would like to have you scribble down a few thoughts of the same principle for your business. And towards the end, again, depending on time availability, we'd love to have some of you come up and say how you thought about the particular idea and what you think you will be doing for your venture using the same concept. So that's an attempt, and it will all depend on how much time we are left in yet. But if nothing else, you would have noted down some thoughts contextually to your business. So I just want you to be thinking about your business as we start talking about principles. Yeah, so with that, actually, it's a good time for me to hand over to Jackie and take over.
Hi guys, so I'm
here, so I will happily interrupt if required or intervene if you have any questions.
So hi guys, I'm Janaki. Just to give a little bit of background about myself, I work with different industries, advertising for pharmaceutical, entertainment industry, and at the same time FMCG. If you have any questions, anything specific, please feel free to ask. This is Shrikant, who is my colleague.
Everyone but Sanjay is allowed to ask questions.
Okay.
Yeah, so questions we might not be able to answer.
Yeah. Also, one more thing that I wanted to say is now what we're going to do is we're going to start talking about each and every part of how to go about your digital marketing strategy. And what I want you all to do is jot down, as Sanjay correctly pointed out, pointers regarding to your business, right? How you can implement it. Take pointers down and write it down. And when you do that, you'll have more questions. And that's how it will be
To break one of the biggest myths that a lot of people used to have a long time ago is that digital used to be a checkbox in a marketer's calendar. It used to be like Facebook page hai, Facebook page hai, website hai kya, website hai, right? The advantage we have in digital today and its reach today is its ability to impact actual business, actual revenue, right? So when you're looking at setting digital objectives, think of them as equivalent to being business objectives, right? So think about whether you want to grow business in terms of actual individual sales itself, whether you want, if you have like a storefront to drive traffic, if you have like a website to drive traffic there, actual business sales and conversion. That's what you need to think about it in terms of what you need to do as objectives.
Right, so that is one part about aligning your digital objective with your overall business goals. Another thing is what you can do on digital, right? The first step towards, let's say, getting on digital is to get awareness, right, among your audiences. So I want to know one thing before I actually go in that way. How many of you all day-to-day talk to your customers? Day-to-day. Everybody, right? There's not a single person in the room who doesn't talk to their customers? Okay, great. So when you talk to your customers are already aware. But in digital, you have a much wider segment that you can target. So then that is when you have to talk about, like, you talk about your product, what you're doing, how you're affecting the category, how your product is different, and what are the different kinds of things that you are offering your clients which your competitors aren't, right? So these are the point of, point of discussions to have with your customers to help them get aware. The other thing is engagement. So now, once the customer is aware of your offering, okay, it can be a product, it can be a service, it can be a function, it can be anything, right? How do you engage with them on a daily basis? How do you make them, come back to your page? How do you make them come back to your blog or your website at the end of the day? And at the same time, how you converse with them, right? So you all need to have that one part where you're continuously, even digitally, that is online, talk to your customers. That is one thing. And when you do both of these things, you probably generate leads, right? Because then you have somebody messaging you saying, hey, I need a service, how can I contact you? Where is your website? Or where are you located? I'll come and, have a chat. Yeah. I think everybody knows SMART, right? So the goals, how they should be enhanced. Yeah. So one thing that I want you to jot down really quickly is what stage you all are at on digital. Are you all at giving awareness, of spreading awareness, or are you all at getting engagement, or you all already generated leads? So what is your basic goal? Just jot that down and take like 2 minutes. Let me know when you all are done. Everyone's done? Can we move forward? Okay. So now that you know your objectives, you know what clear path you want to take or what you have to do online, okay? Now what you need to do is you need to take a step out of your world and go to your competitor's world. Because as many people say, right, keep your friends closer but your enemies, keep your friends close but your enemies closer. So that's the main reason why. So let's say if you are a physiotherapist, right? If you are a physiotherapist. So look at other doctors, other physiotherapists and what they're doing online, how they're going about it, what is the kind of conversations they are having online, what platform they are more active on, are they engaging with their customers, what is it that our customers want to know, right? Because let's say you are a new business, right? You don't have followers, you don't have engagement to understand what people want online. But there's a competitor who's already established. So what can you learn from them? What can you learn from what they're talking about, what the audiences want to see, what they don't want to see, and etc. Right? So they have already done their trial and error stages, right? Like when they started to now where they are with, let's say, 1,000 followers, right? So what we need to do is we need to cleverly learn from their mistakes and see what they've done before when they started and now what they're doing and probably carry on with that. So that will be a really plus point which you all will kind of get easily. Like you all don't have to go through that entire, USP is the unique selling point which any business would have, right? If your business is very similar to their business, but the market is too wide, so that's why you have the capacity to get customers, then you need to understand what they're talking about and how you can differently talk about it with a different perspective. Are you all with me? I can't hear.
Yes.
Okay, great. I thought like after the sleeping. Okay. So do you all want to okay, right now it will be very difficult to go through their social media pages and jot down, but on top of your mind, I'm sure everybody has gone to a computer website, has gone to their social media pages and tried to understand what they do, right? So if you all have anything in mind, just jot that down quickly. If not, we'll just move forward. Will you move forward? Okay, great. So now that you've understood what your objective is on digital, you understood what your competitors are doing online and you gain from that, what you need to do is understand first, define target. Everybody knows that B2B and B2C, right? So you say B2B clients are focused on, let's say, more money, delivery and other things. While B2C maybe have that, let's say, have more human touch to the brand, right? Like right now, youngsters want to engage with brands who are more sustainable. So everybody knows this market trend, right? So most of the companies and bigger brands are talking about sustainability, how they care about the environment, how they care about the people working for them, and etc. So the same way, just go to B2B and B2C. So, but at the end of the day, what you all need to understand is the B2B client is also human. So they also have motivators, personal motivators which make them want to do work. One thing that again, I think everybody over here knows that if you have good relationships, it really works well. And how is that good relationship built? By understanding what kind of human he is, understanding what he likes, understanding what he doesn't like, kind of giving him what he wants, being there at a time when he needs help or when he needs an order to be placed really quickly, helping him out. All of these things help build relationship, right? And that's the main reason that the same happens with B2B and B2C at the end of the day. And yeah. So now you've targeted, you understood what your customer is, you understood that at the end of the day they are human, right? Now let's talk about customers. So here what I want you all to do is right now, stop thinking of yourself as a businessman. Stop it. What you all do is, what even my dad does, my dad is also a businessman. He does that, he says that, oh my god, so he's B2B, okay? He works in the lubricant business and etc. So yeah. But what he does is he always is pointing out saying that, oh my god, this client is harassing me. He always wants things, really quick. And it takes time to import things out of India, right? And all of that, etc. etc. What you need to do is, instead of thinking about it as a businessman, go to a customer's perspective. Remove your business shoes and kind of wear your customer shoes, right? Each and every person in this room is a customer for someone or the other brand. And you all have demands, right? All customers have demands. So your customers also have demands. How can you convert those demands into a positive for your business is important. And over here, because when I asked everyone, have you all been talking to your customers? Everybody raised their hand, right? At the end, so you know your customers the best. So that is one thing that you need to keep in mind, because you're constantly talking with them, you're constantly trying to understand what they need, constantly trying to reflect that on your business. The same thing should also happen in your advertising and in your marketing, so you understand your customers. Understand why is it that you would want to get something overnight, right, delivered. Why is it that you want more quality? Why is it that you care about money at times? So understand those motivators behind it. So how do you understand your target audience? So this is very simple. First thing that we can do is primary research, which I think every one of you all is doing, but they're doing it subconsciously. What I want you all to do from now onwards or from today onwards, start doing it actively. Every time we meet a customer, try to write down their name, what they like, try to get these informations from them, right? What they like, what category they fit in, are they, middle class, are they higher middle class, are they lower middle class, are they what? Try to kind of categorize them and understand what their motivators are they looking for a good lifestyle when they are buying a product? Are they looking for, let's say, just ease of life? Or it's simple as pen, right? You need pen to what are they looking for when they're looking to write? What is the USP that you can provide, right? So that is one thing that you need to start looking at actively for your customers. So that is a primary research. You all can do primary research by simple, I can just give you all a few options like focus groups, but we're not going to do that. But of course you can get a client in one room and have conversations which will help you understand them better. And then go back and jot it down, kind of make groups with them and understand what category, what are the motivators for particular audience.
Yeah, and so I think just when you think about your customers, right? Think about like this continuous question you keep asking yourself is what's in it for that customer, right? What's in it for me? What is my motivation? And then you also connect that to what's my motivation is connected to specifically the world around me, right? So if essentially you're looking at someone who is, for example, in procurement, and looking at a B2B business, and someone in procurement and their world around them, one of their primary aspects is to look at comparing various vendors when it comes to like basically looking at it and thinking about it as apples to apples. But as business owners, we understand that it's not really apples to apples. Sometimes we're a little bit of a Srinagar apple versus some other apple, right? So the idea is that there is the way that the person who is kind of your stakeholder is evaluating you is different because of the motivations and objectives that they have to set. Right? So what you need to start thinking about is what context is important for me to understand about that particular stakeholder I'm going to be having a conversation with. Right? And therefore with that context later on we'll figure out how to actually create that connection, how to create value and how to create intent from that particular aspect. And that's why I want you to start thinking. Because the reality is when it comes to your audiences, you are in that space there. Right? In my own world, in my own life, I don't, pardon my French, I don't give a shit about you, right? That's the reality, right? I have to live my own thing, I have to do my own choices, my own decisions, right? And as marketers and as essentially salespersons in our own world to actually get that context going, we have to create that relationship. And for that relationship, we have to really understand the motivations of our various audiences.
So that is one thing.
But more specifically, how do we use social media to understand our target audience better?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that in this little bit. So she's talking about primary research, which is the first part, and then there's secondary research, which is tools and technologies.
Yeah. So the secondary research is basically going online and trying to. Now, once you've done the primary research, you've got an idea of what kind of customers you have offline, right? And those are the same customers who are even online because nowadays there's no world which is offline only and online only, right? So you then identify a segment of your customers. Once you're done with that, what you do is you go online and you search for secondary research which gives you reports of what it is. So just example, your customers can be millennials, right? What motivates them, etc. There are too many reports online for secondary research that we could do, or you all could go around and read and understand them much better. So these are like experts or research agencies who conduct these research and tell you all about their social media behavior, about their offline behavior, their online, everything at the end of the day.
Yeah, and so just going back to specific tools, right, in terms of research. So one is, like Janki was saying, there are specific reports available which will give you direct insight. We're talking about this particular kind of customer for this particular industry visits these 5 channels on a regular basis, right? That's one kind of data piece that will allow you to identify where is my customer and what is my customer actually interacting with, right? The second piece of information you already get is from the individual channels that you identify. So let's say, for example, you're looking at Facebook as a channel, or you're looking at LinkedIn as a channel, or you're looking at YouTube as a channel, right? Each individual channel also has its own specific areas where you can actually browse through that channel and it will give you specific data in terms of what kind of people consume, what kind of content and what kind of interactions on those individual channels. So there's secondary research which gives you channel direction. It's kind of like a cheat sheet, like when you listen to a podcast. And then there's specifically channel-specific research once you identify the channels that you would like to typically be on.
Now you've identified what your customers are, who they are, what they like, what they don't like, etc. Now you've understood how you can do more research about them and try to understand what they do online. Now what we need to do is, at the end of the day, I think Srikanth always says that the IDA model of advertising is now an AA model, which is basically awareness and action. So again, because you're our customers as well, how many of you all have, while scrolling over the internet or on Instagram or anywhere, seen a product, liked it and bought it on the spot? Right? Many. And this trend is increasing. So this entire business trend that we had, we need to first, make sure that our customers know about us, then create interest towards the product, and then create a desire for them to buy it, probably by giving them, free stuff and etc. And then getting to the action of buying is changed, right? It's awareness and action. As soon as they know about the product, they like it, they think it's useful, they will buy it instantly. And that's what the power of digital does. Yes, it does. So let's say if you're a B2B person, right? At the end of the day, so let's take an example of my dad. He's into lubricants. Lubricants are really costly. So in that, the idea model stays. But there are certain products and services which you can directly just go and book, right? Like let's say you're on Instagram and you come across an urban clamp or massage free, whatever, some offer. You might probably just click in, book the massage right then and there, right? Yeah. Sometimes it's just, let's say sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes it's like my friend is probably getting a massage done and I'm like, no, I need to have a massage, and I would go and kind of book a massage, right? So it's social media, it's influence, it's everything. And I think that we'll cover a lot more of that throughout the presentation.
Just add to the options. Basically, whatever saying that everything necessarily leads to a purchase. It's, I think, just an example that Jackie was giving about the Instagram. But when we think in terms of moments, is that even if you have a B2B client, what is that moment at which when he sees your communication, he is likely to consume it and maybe likely to send you a form filled with an inquiry or request? So the question is that, understanding the moment. So for example, if he is on a comparison shopping or comparison site, or he is reviewing products, and that's where your communication shows up. And like he is reviewing some machinery of a certain kind which you're a manufacturer on indiatrade.com or something like that. That's where you show up, because he's in the mindset of thinking about your product versus showing him the same advertising on Facebook when he's seeing some travel photography. That's not going to connect. So the question is about identifying the moment where you can very specifically reach for whatever goal that you have. Maybe if you are a B2C customer, I mean B2B product like a massage service, your end goal may be to convert right away. But somewhere else, maybe just to take the customer to the next step of the journey. So identify the moment is what you're at.
Yeah. So let's say you have your customer and you know exactly who it is, what the items are, etc. You kind of can do this, right? It's a journey of a customer where, let's say at morning 12 a.m. what the customer is doing, what they do throughout the day, when are the times that they are on social media, when are the times they are probably looking at, let's say, entertainment, when they are looking at WhatsApp, what they are doing throughout their day, what kind of websites they go to for your business. Let's say if your business is, I don't know, if you're does anybody want to talk about their business? Yeah.
Industrial parts, B2B
industrial parts. So there will be specific websites which give more information about the different industrial parts. So what are those websites which are like an influence, which give more information? How can you plug your ad in there, and etc. So these are all kinds of, once you go through the entire journey of your customer, which is B2B or B2C, you identify the moments as correctly Sanjay said.
That's actually a great example, right? So you do parts, right? So now the idea is, if you look at one of your primary goals on digital or social, you need to, let's say, talk and evaluates you in that journey, right? And then there is the decision maker. So you look at, there is a stakeholder who says, boss, iske saath jao. Then there is an evaluator who says, maine 50 company mein se, I have evaluated basis these 15 parameters. And then there is a procurement guy who says, jalna bahut jalna ho gaya, kam paisa, time paisa mein, right? There are different motivations and there are different things that they do in their own specific day. That's what we're trying to explain to you in terms of trying to draft that as a beginning process, right? And specifically for each of your individual you need to define it for yourself and say, okay, where are the specific moments as a choice that I need to make to reach out to that individual stakeholder. Right? What you have to say to each of those stakeholders is different. Let me be very clear. Right? Context is extremely important in today's games, right? And especially in B2B, when your sales cycles are longer, there is a narrative of I'm still good, I'm still great. You need to continue while your sales processes and your account-based marketing is continuing.
Also, one more thing over here, that this is a day. At the end of the day, there are even months. Like pharmaceutical industry is active every quarter, right? So after every quarter, they are active for 2 months and then they again go to sleep at the end of the day. So then you need to identify those cycles as well, when you need to have that active communication online, and when you can relax a bit and maybe have some normal communication online, which is not that aggressive, right? Or that targeted or that continuous or that frequent at the end of the day. So that way you can even understand when you need to be active and when you all also need to be a bit offline.
So I'm going to give you one B2B example or a similar kind of example of a moment. Okay? So we spoke about this company called Greenland Industries or Greenland Laminates a little while ago. So what does Greenland do? Greenland makes laminates and various products for essentially architects, interior designers and contractors to buy, right? So basis research, we identified how an architect or an interior designer actually does work, right? How they work. One of the key things that they do is they set up like this board where they put like sofa ka material, floor ka material, ghar ka material, brick ka material, everything like this, and then they like a vision board for them to set up. For in that day process, one of the things that they love to do is to walk around and see something, take a photo, send it to the guy and say, "Aisa color mein hai kya? Aisa texture mein hai kya?" That's something they do on a regular basis, right? So one of the things that we did was to develop a 5-minute lab that basically allows them to take a photo of anything and then match that immediately with the selection of laminates and also request a sample, right? Why did we do that? Because we know that the architect actually is in that moment 3 to 4 times a day, right? It gives the architect immediate, let's say, result or satisfaction to say, okay, Greenland does have 4 or 5 laminates of this type, and also allows the architect to immediately request a sample, right? Those are specific moments of choice that we need to identify. Right? Now there are tons of other moments we could have gone for. There's a websites called Design and so on that they visit every day. There are different things that we do, but this is one of the moments that we chose to concentrate on, chose to invest a certain amount of money in terms of that, because we realize that there is a business value proposition and there is a longer term engagement, and most importantly, it answers why the architect will come again and again and again and again to that app. Right? Does that make sense? That's an example of a moment to identify.
So again, you need to seize that one moment that you're identifying, that let's say our customers are looking to click pictures and then select and kind of then join. Be found where the action is. So basically, let's say when you do a day in a life, you understand, let's say they are more active on Facebook than Instagram, or they're more active on Twitter. Because that
I'm just going to jump into this one more thing, right? So as entrepreneurs and business owners here, right, I think the most difficult thing for all of you to think about now is मेरे पास ऐसा करने को time है क्या? मेरे life में there are more important things for me to do, right? I think that to be able to do this right and to be able to, I think the best example is गन्ने से जूस बराबर निकालने के लिए you have to be able to do this and you have to make time to do this correctly. Because when you actually do spend time in investing in something like this correctly and the right way, you can definitely get your returns. I mean, I just saw a lot of faces that said, "Oh, yeah, I'm just kind of importantly, basically that it's important for you to do this well."
Also, one more thing, when you go deeper into understanding your audience, one thing that you will come to know, one thing you will realize is that once you understand your audience better, you know how to deal with them better. You know their motivators, what they are thinking, what they are not thinking, what they are looking at. That means your communication even offline with your audiences will improve. Because then you're actively trying to put yourself in their shoes and trying to understand them. So that way also is going to be very beneficial to you all. It's not just going to be like, digital का एक campaign करना है, उसमें से 10 leads generate करना है, right? It will also help you understand, do you all need to make any changes to your business, the way it functions, the way it works, to kind of make it easier for your customer to work with you at the end of the day. So right now all the customers are really spoiled. If you go to see, they get everything on their doorstep, overnight delivery. take some time, understand who they are, what do they like, what do they dislike, where would you find them, what is the main points where you're gonna like have a conversation with them, when is the perfect time to kind of, you know, get their attention.
Yeah, can we brainstorm a bit? So we did one B2B, right? Can we take one B2C, one, sorry, if you have questions. Oh, wow, awesome. Okay, so like someone who would have, like, who would be... Oh, as a, okay. Okay. Okay.
Would require the same set skills to go global.
Okay.
So this is due to
Okay.
So that's where our want to know how to get your intentions.
Okay, so that's a great example, right?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so I think so. She runs an immigration law firm, and essentially the idea is that if Mirum, for example, and we don't have an office in, I don't know, where Middle East somewhere, for example, right? And what she wants to do is she wants to reach out to someone from Mirum, probably Sanjay Mehta or so on and so forth, who basically is going to take that call in terms of how do I go, where do I go, what do I do, and so on and so forth, right? So exactly, so the process remains pretty much the same. Like if we go back to like plotting, for example, let's say the CXO of Mirum that we need to target, right? So aside from this entire vision part where he really bugs me and spends time asking me dhanda kidhar hai, right? He also spends a lot of time in terms of figuring out what to do with his own business, right? He spends that time to figure out. So you have to understand that when it comes to like a specific, let's say, operational activity like yours, in terms of opening operations in another place, it's a very niche space, right? It's a very niche space. So what you need to figure out on platforms, let's say for example, one of the first things that I would begin with on digital is to look at Google search, right? Google search is probably the #1 platform when it comes to intent to purchase, right? Whether it's B2B, whether it's B2C, right? And I would look for keywords like, for example, you setting up operations in Middle East or setting up operations in North America or so on and so forth, right? And I would begin to see what kind of search keywords come from there. And then other than that, look at specifically that's platform. You do Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, etc. as platform in terms of your research. And then honestly, a mix of primary and secondary in terms of understanding what goes through the mind of Sanjay Mehta if he is looking to open an office in Middle East or if he's looking to open an office somewhere, right? What are the 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 factors that you would consider? Reach him where you would present, right? So for example, there's some other data and statistics that come and says that 93% of CEOs in India consume email the first thing they wake up in the morning, right? That's like an important piece of secondary research for us to understand that if I need to reach someone like Sanjay Mehta, email is a great platform to reach him on, right? And then so on, figure out in terms of what we need to do as a buying process and buying strategy.
Also, just to add to that, so it's just as and when he was talking about it, I realized that, we use this in our daily lives. When you want to connect with someone, you probably understand what platform they are active on and message them on it. So that is one thing. So we do this for our personal life, to contact to our friends, to connect with them, to, meet and etc. The same thing we should probably even use for this.
Actually, just as a show of hands, how many B2B here? So it's a good 50-50 mix, so we'll have to do that.
So, I'm Pramod Devagan. I run a digital sales enablement and engagement platform. Now, we have a specific challenge. We are a startup. Okay, we actually started with our digital campaign maybe a month back, one and a half, 2 months back. And we initially we didn't have any content, so we ended up first building a lot of content. So we now building content consistently. What we have conducted internally, see our competitors are like Facebook, HubSpot, they have like 1 million followers, 1.5 million followers across all the platforms. And we are starting, we are actually taking these big giants. If we have to, and we're doing something, we're doing, it's DIY, it's and it's the kind of creators we're making. I always compare it with, doing your house from an interior decorator or doing it on a room. So it doesn't have that finesse of what these guys prepare content and how they do strategy and all these things. So you're thinking that there are two options. Either we spend a lot of money and see how we can reach to that kind of digital presence. All they can wait because these guys have a track record of 10-15 years. They've been doing that digital from last 10 years, and now they've reached around 1.5 or whatever.
They're the same as Bob Presley at the end of the day. But what is the difference that these guys did is they were college guys. They really loved making juices and kind of trying with different tastes and fruits and etc. They had this one stall where they said they kept 2 dustbins. If you like our drinks and you want us to make it a business, put your cups in this dustbin. If you think that we are really bad at what we are doing right now and you don't want us to quit our engineering careers, then please put your cups over here. By the end of the entire day, the dustbin will say that, you know, go ahead, make this was full. And that's how they started their business. That is first thing, they got audience feedback on the first day of even thinking, right? So that's again when it comes to audience understanding what they want, what they don't want. So their problem was at the end of the day, when they entered the market, there was real juice, there was other packaged juice which were already there, right? So what they did is they understood that people want freshness in their juice, right? So that was the insight that they gathered. They made it an advantage and they said that we are the freshest juice that's available, right? And at the same time, they tapped into pop culture. So they targeted a specific kind of audience, which were basically, let's say, office-going audience. They were audience like you all who are very busy, they don't have enough time to eat healthy, and tweak the communication accordingly. Again, the conversation I had before that brands, let's say customers want to be associated with brands who are more sustainable. They had different campaigns that running throughout, like, you know, knit a cap for the bottle, and how many of the caps that you knit, you would probably, you know, let's say generate this much of money and then they will return next year. They had all these other different campaigns that were going around which made their brand more quirky, more different in the entire market. So when people looked at Innocent Drinks, it was more like a fun brand. It was like healthy, it was exciting, it was young, it was vibrant. So that is the basic, you know, differentiation that you can do. Like where you want to position your brand, how do you want to go about it?
So quick time check. We'll have to go a little faster so that we can get.
So let's understand what kind of content works. So now we understood audience, everything. So now we also figured out where they are, what they are doing, and understand what content works. Okay. So there are 3 types of content. One is lightweight, medium weight, and heavyweight. Okay. So lightweight is basically a GIF, a meme, let's say Terribly Tiny Tales. Does anybody know what Terribly Tiny Tales is? Okay, great. And then medium weight content like News of New York, the paragraph that they put in the caption. Another medium weight content would be like Scoop, BuzzFeed, what content they put up. So that is the kind of consumption people have. Heavyweight is basically a huge article and now what do you want to target or what do you want to do will depend on your objective. If you want to create awareness, you would probably want to go lightweight and then let's say drive them to medium weight and then heavyweight. If you want your audience to go in depth. If you don't want your audience to go in depth and just know your brand or be aware of what you're doing, you probably will target lightweight. Also, this will be understanding what time your audience has online, right? If it's a person like Sanjay Mehta and that's who you're targeting, you will probably not have so much of time to go in depth. So then you would probably have a time. So now you understand.
Just the lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight, just to get a little more understanding of this. Lightweight is that kind of content that, you know, while you are waiting at the elevator and you're waiting for the elevator to you have a few, like a minute or two, want to quickly catch up something. So that's the kind of, you know, like a Facebook post or a tweet or something is that what you can consume. And that's typically like the headline of a story. It's when you flip through a newspaper, a headline is what perhaps interests you to read more. If the headline is not interesting, then you don't even go to that article. So the lightweight kind of serves that topic. By itself, it is almost very rarely sufficient to drive home your communication point. but that interests you a little more. When you click and when you get into a small listicle, 10 ways to be healthy and still get taste or whatever, or even like a short infographic or something, and that's your middleweight content, which when the Uber is not come and you're waiting for 5 minutes down, that's when you consume that kind of middleweight content. And if that interests you further, that hey, this is something interesting, I should see that 10-minute video or consume that white paper or something, you bookmark it and go back home or office or something, find the specific time and then go deeper into it. Perhaps your conversion actually happens only after that. But you need those first and second steps to actually keep investing you further. And that's the real role of lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight. So generally speaking, you need all of those. Unless it's a very impulsive product. It's like when you're at the shopping in a store and those chewing gum and other things, they keep at the checkout counter. You don't need to sell those, you just pick it up. So if you're in the impulsive category, you probably don't need so much. But anything else which you need to kind of get the person interested in one or the other, you probably need a little bit of all the things. That's the role of the thing.
So there are different kinds of formats that you can target on, which are also platform specific. So once you understand what your audience is, what they try to consume and what they like, you can probably go to. So right now the trend in digital marketing is video is the key, right? It's easy 1 minute, 2 minute videos that people can consume visually and audio-wise it captures. The next thing is audio, of course, which is basically voice stories and stuff. So you can have infographics, you can have images, you can have stories and everything. So I think everybody here uses social media, so they know different kinds of formats that they can. So user-generated content is more like, let's say, Pepsi did this entire campaign during Super Bowl.
So it's participative content. So when you talk to your customer or your user, you say, share your story as to how interesting or not you found a digital marketing workshop like that.
Just asking a user to participate and kind of giving them something that they want to do it for. At the end of the day, so you have to close the loop, only then it works. Just think about it, jot it down really quickly, and move very quickly.
Just one small point to kind of make here. I think when you think about video, and video is like a big part of I think the kind of content that people are consuming, and with 5G coming, you see more and more video content being consumed, right? I think a lot of companies have fear as to what kind of content do I need to create in terms of video, right? Everybody thinks that I need to be a filmmaker, my content needs to be very high production, it needs to be really unbelievable, and so on and so forth. Well, I think quality is fairly subjective in terms of obviously maintaining a basic level of visual standards, right? But I think that I want you to start thinking about yourself as a documentary filmmaker first and as a filmmaker second. Everyone likes to hear your story. Everyone likes to hear the story of your product, right? If you need to think about content from the digital perspective, if you have like a company that does healthy snacks and products, a great piece of content is to talk about how that actually came about, how that actually is good, what kind of effort and time you spend in the quality of the product and so on and so forth. Those are great places to start thinking about content. My story, our story as a company. Because people will be interested. I'm not saying everybody will be, but I think if you think about it well, it will give you good initial beginnings and good initial starts for content.
So his question was if I want to break down my content and understand how to split it and how much percentage to probably give weightage to, we need to kind of understand.
Your question, the answer lies here actually. See, because different people consume different types of content on different platforms, right? And if your audience is disproportionately present on one type of platform where video content is heavily consumed, for example, which honestly right now is pretty much everywhere, then maybe your strategy should be centered around doing video. But even today, I think when you think of video doesn't mean every time it's like short with like 20 people. The idea is to think about what John was saying earlier, video infographics is a great way to do it. depends on where are your audiences, what is your reach in terms of number of audiences, right, in terms of sizing, and obviously on those individual platforms, what kind of content is consumed.
Also, one thing that you all can take away is that what audience really likes is you advertise to them, they're like, okay, fine, it's an advertisement, I'm going to consume it, right? But when you talk about how your business is formed, the people who are working in it, when you make it more human, more conversational, they really want to follow you, they want to like, they want to know more, and that's how you can kind of get their attention as well. So when you're thinking of content, you need to think of different pegs that you're going to peg it on. Like, let's say you talk about your organization, right? Then you talk about the people who are working for it, the people that when a person buys that one product that you're offering, you are empowering these many people who are working for my company at the end of the day. So that is one kind of conversation that you could probably have. So there are many kinds of conversation you can have with them through different formats. I think stories is something that is really trending now, vertical and horizontal scrolling on Instagram, on Facebook, and on other things. Same with IGTV, where you have more DIY videos, right? So how things are done on the back end.
Yeah, so we're going to jump into platforms now, and I'll just quickly walk through some of the platforms in terms of what's happening. So Facebook has a huge amount of interaction that happens on social. If you look at, you should think about Facebook as your mass reach platform when it comes to social. Generally, you would find, except for maybe a 18 to 21 kind of subset, you would find pretty much everyone who's on Facebook is also on LinkedIn, is also on Instagram, is also on so on and so forth. Snapchat is a different conversation because kids are going to Snapchat because their parents are on Facebook. So those are like, very specific, different conversations that are there. So mostly you'll find like 18 to 21 kind of conversation on Snapchat. Facebook has some really interesting forms of advertising in terms of being able to reach the consumer. It's got really interesting ways in terms of being able to reach consumers based on their behavior and so on and so forth. It does work for B2B. It does work for B2C as well, obviously. Instagram is basically your image or visual-led platform, right? Everything about Instagram is that if your content is not visually appealing enough, no one will view your content. It's very simple. So if you're doing anything on Instagram, just make sure it's visually appealing, well thought about, and you have a strategy of what is the kind of visual content I'm putting out and why I'm putting out, right? And again, it's not necessarily that your content has to be B2C. Like GE has an incredible Instagram channel. Please have a look at it, right? Then
Hi, my name is Malik.
Yeah.
I'm actually building a watchmaking company. So basically the watch believes in the wearer having the ability to customize the watch he or she is wearing.
The watch face or?
The entire watch. So we're talking about miniature bricks. Okay. So my question on Instagram is that when you're building a brand, right, it's more about the brand than the product. And I think Mr. Mehta mentioned about building trust. So the dilemma I really have is that in terms of followers, so how do you get the initial 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 followers where when then a person visits and then he sees that count and then that person starts or wants to follow, because if I have 50, 100, 150 followers, it's difficult to start growing from there. So my question really is, do you do organic following, do you do inorganic following? How do you really start on Instagram for building a brand or product?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to answer this for all platforms first. There is no platform on which you don't have to spend money. You have to spend money on every platform. Whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's whatever. The idea of those platforms existing is that someone like all of you spends money on those platforms to actually reach the audiences they have. So I think that no digital marketing strategy or digital business strategy can be without ad spends on those individual platforms. That's to begin with. The second thing is, it's also not like start-stop where you start with, I spend money in the beginning and then I'll get a certain number of followers, then after I can do organic. That also doesn't work, right? It has to be a mix of both. And if you see the way the platforms themselves are built, the platforms are built, for example, on Facebook, if you spend money consistently or organic reach goes up, right? So those are understanding or pieces that we need to understand that we need to go with. The second thing, personally for me, I wouldn't recommend any business benchmark based on the number of followers I have, to be very honest. Because at the end of the day, I look at social channels as rented platforms. My own platform, my own website is my own platform, my own website. Facebook is something I rent, right? I rent space on Facebook. It's not my own asset, right? So building a number of followers can have some, let's say, specific appeal for a specific objective, like telling people like, you know, oh man, this watchmaking company is famous, 50,000 people are following on Instagram, it must be quite big. That's the only business objective it will solve. Literally the only one. There's no other business objective that having 50,000 followers will solve for you, right? That's pretty much it. I mean, that's the direction to kind of think about it in terms of saying how do I get ahead. You have to spend money and you have to understand who you're spending that money for. I mean, like your business is again like extremely niche. Like you're looking at someone who knows what a watch is, what a watch face is, being appreciative of the actual watch itself, has value by wearing a watch and understand what it means to wear a watch versus like some time pass, you know, smartwatch that you can wear on the side. So those are very specific things that you need to understand. So I mean, your consumer is probably like very different.
Yeah, so one thing that you could do is like, because you have a niche audience, you can use influencer marketing, which we're going to talk about later. So
yeah, I'm just going to rush through now quickly. WhatsApp for Business is not out yet, but everybody knows WhatsApp is absolutely monstrous as a platform in terms of its own reach. If you want to do anything on WhatsApp, my recommendation is to use a surrogate link like Bitly or something like that, where someone can go view your piece of content. You can measure how many people have actually seen that piece of content, because right now WhatsApp doesn't allow for.
Can you repeat the name?
Bitly. Yeah, it's a free service. Like it's a link that you can share. So when someone clicks on it on the back end on Bitly, you can track if people actually clicked on that link or so on. Because unlike other platforms, it doesn't give you link click checking right now. Right? Twitter, from a B2B perspective, it's more about events and specific, let's say, buzz generation and thought leadership from a B2B perspective. From a B2C perspective, again, primarily buzz generation and being part of the topical conversation. So if there's something that's real topical, really going on right now, you know, that's something that Twitter will definitely be able to help you amplify. So if you see something that's topical, that's essentially some way related to something that you do as part of your business, then Twitter is a great place to take advantage of that. LinkedIn has made some active changes on their platform now to help with different types of content like video and so on. Also, the entire Microsoft thing has helped them become more amenable to a lot of clients. Their way of working has changed a little bit, so definitely LinkedIn is a better option. I would say it's become better than it used to be for sure, for me at least personally. It's a great place to start if you're looking for people and if you want to establish an employer brand. To go and tell people that this is a great company to work for. That's a great beginning in terms of a basic strategy for LinkedIn. But obviously, it's got incredible reach in terms of people sharing their designations, their job roles, and so on and so forth. So it's a great place for you to understand, right?
But LinkedIn is more B2B.
Sorry, what graphics? Yeah, you can use it for that. You can use, that's what I was saying.
Also, the communication that he was talking about.
The first part is for your own company as an employer brand perspective, and the second part is based on designations, based on your own business. You can use LinkedIn as a great platform. At this point, no. It's just kind of talking about.
But LinkedIn is more for B2B. Can we do more for B2C?
No, I think that's a perception. I think that there are specific ways in which to use LinkedIn from a B2C perspective also. Especially if your product has some sort of connection to maybe designations. For example, if you're selling insurance, then people over 26 generally are more likely to buy insurance, right? And then you target that. If you're like, I think car companies, Volkswagen does a really interesting campaign where it targets the Polo for a bacha, Passat for someone who's a senior designation in that sense. There are interesting ways in which to use it also. YouTube, interesting statistic, I think 2018, India consumed 45% of the world's YouTube traffic. Let me repeat. In 2018, India consumed 45% of the world's YouTube traffic. Who here heard about the T-Series versus PewDiePie thing? Right? It's absolutely monstrous. Please look it up. T-Series and PewDiePie. It was absolutely incredible. The whole nation came together for something YouTube is really good if you have a really good strategy on how to use it. Please do not put up 3 videos on YouTube and expect them to get 1 million views. That's just never going to happen, right? Understand what kind of content you want to use a playlist well. Understand the kind of content that your consumer is going to consume and what they want to see from there. Depending on what kind of company you are, you have different types of content in terms of your how-tos to essentially answering your what, where, why, and how, right? You have to answer those on the YouTube channel. Have a specific strategy. YouTube subscribers makes a difference. Having subscribers on YouTube makes a difference because if you look at your own behavior, outside of everything, you might have 100 pages you like on Facebook, but you probably have 3 channels in comparison that you subscribe to on YouTube. You only subscribe to a channel when there is specific value you see from it. So the idea is that the people who subscribe to on YouTube definitely get value from it. Right. This is a mix. This is just a workshop piece for all of you to do when you kind of get down and sit down and do this. Look at your audiences to use really good tools that are available for free in the channels themselves once you create your ad profiles. And also secondary and primary research you do, you get a good idea of where your audiences are, what kind of content they consume on various channels. Paid media. Okay. I suspect for every entrepreneur here, it is the big question, right? Right? Also, vasuly kaise measure karte. I think those are 2 really important factors. I think that the goal is always to understand that, so first of all, investing in digital is not by start-stop. It has to be sustained, it has to be continuously monitored with specific objectives that you do, right? So understand that every campaign you run has to have a beginning, a middle and an end. Understand that the end doesn't mean end, it just means the beginning of the next campaign.
With the same time. Hello. Anyway, so with the same time, we are also having a question in our mind that for the industry specific, what kind of social media partner we should have in terms of social media marketing partner.
So you mean like an agency like Mirum?
Agency, yeah. So payment and expense, I mean the budget,
sure,
that's fair, but also we need to identify the right partner for right kind of industry.
Sure.
Since my question is just a carry forward from what I said, so I mean most of us can't afford JWT, or,
sure,
since most of us are good at our product,
sure,
and I think a fair degree of customer awareness is there, but we don't know actually whom to go for advertising or really do the content this thing. So are there any good crowdsourcing platforms from where we could like software is nowadays just the coding is just taken from crowdsourcing platform. Are there some good crowdsourcing platforms whom we could just give them we could give this problem to, and they could take it on in bits or pieces or the whole itself, where it would be much more cost effective and probably it would also solve the problem.
So I understand the question. Is it the same kind of
it's maybe it's an atypical, I can take it offline, but as I mentioned, we are into banking related training.
Sure.
And one of the things we are looking at is multilingual. So we specialize in certifications which we created for an audience, for an any audience. So how does one factor the aspect of multilingual? You have done that for one of the case studies that you have talked about. The second is, most of the examples you gave are very popular ones. But if I want to market, say in Bombay, I will consider an M indicator. If I want to do NASDAQ, I might look at something very local. So how do I identify those, and what exactly do I do when I have to work with those type of channels? So these 2 questions are something which are pretty much
okay. So I will answer the first set of questions kind of together first. So I think one is that there are, from a pure play budget and orientation point of view, there are enough and more really good, I guess, people who understand digital and smaller agencies who understand how to do digital fairly well enough in terms of the size that they are. I think that should not be difficult to find. In terms of what to So the key for you is for you to understand that the agency that you work with has to have value outside of what you provide to them, right? Because like the other gentleman that was talking about the fact that you understand your own product, right? And you understand your audience to a certain extent, right? So when you are quote unquote evaluating an agency that you're having a conversation with, you have to understand from a business owner perspective that they're going to give you value beyond what you already know, first of all. And second, I would evaluate specific work in terms of them achieving the business goals or similar business goals that you are going to set for your own business from the digital platform perspective. Digital as a medium changes continuously. I think that in terms of overall knowledge and thought leadership, I think obviously there will be some difference in terms of agency to agency, and specializations will also differ. So I think that's a choice that you need to make as, let's say, the customer or something in terms of what kind of agency you choose. In terms of answering the crowdsourcing question, I think that there are platforms like Freelancer, Elance.com, and so on and so forth, which are available for you to give specific tasks for an agency to actually solve for you. Elance, E-L-A-N-C, Elance.com or Freelancer.com or so on and so forth. But those are more freelance or Elance associated in terms of specific platforms or portals, right? Otherwise, the best crowdsourcing platform is your own social network. Please put it out on LinkedIn, please put it out on Facebook. I'm looking for an agency that is cheap and good. That's essentially what I suspect you'll put out, right? And 99 out of 100 times you get a good response on your social channel, and sure people will get back to you and tell you what agency you can go for and give you a few names. So those are two ways I would approach it.
So I'll just add to your question on choosing the agency partner. The honest answer is that today there is more demand for digital services than there is supply. Okay, so most agencies, generally speaking, have enough choice of what kind of client they work with. And everybody is ambitious, we are ambitious, everybody is ambitious. So sometimes agencies take on work, but they put the best resources to the highest paying client. Let's be very honest about it. Right? So if you are an SME who's not currently having the budget, and that agency takes up your work for some reason, so they say, oh, why say no to money coming in? But if they put a junior person who's not that competent, your business is not getting the best deal. So the choices, generally speaking, I'm sure in this audience there are people who have enough budget, but there are people who are starting up, so I'm answering for both. If you have enough budgets, you definitely would get good value from your agency. Otherwise, the choice is to go to a smaller, like hungrier agency who's just come off, maybe just started out or something, who's still looking for the first 5 clients, first 10 clients. But whether they will be competent enough for understanding your business, your intricacies of your business, your target audience, not always sure. Sometimes the experimentation happens and you might hit the right guy. So just getting an agency on board, assume that things now are in place. No, you need to keep seeing if it's working out. The better suggestion is, especially for SMEs, and I've been saying this in Thai workshops from 2010, 2011, I continue to believe that that's the best way, is for the founder, the entrepreneur to be involved. And while I showed earlier that an entrepreneur is doing so many things, and where does he have the time? But you could invest time in what is priority. Today, supposing you're running a B2B business, if you were to decide that, okay, I'm going to take this on myself and choose to spend 1 hour a day on LinkedIn and do nothing else. I'm not saying that you take on all the platforms and learn everything, but spend 1 hour a day on LinkedIn. Don't expect results for 3 months, but be diligent about it. 4th month onwards, you'll start seeing impact, which will be well worth the time that you allocate. Unfortunately, most entrepreneurs go to that, and they want either quick results or they want to depend on an external agency. Nobody gets your business better than you. Okay, so first of all, they will not get your business. They will not understand how you are differentiated, what content to write. You know better. Doesn't matter whether you are a communications expert or not. Okay, because your heart is with you, and that's why you can do a better job. So if you are a B2B business, my recommendation is that until you are of a certain scale, once you are at a certain scale and now's the time to bring in a good big agency, see if you can actually do it yourself. You will do it better than others. Yeah, sure, for graphics, for design and all, you can take help.
It's more effective in the first awareness and visibility to start with.
It's what? It's what?
The digital space per se, the digital marketing or whatever tools we choose are primarily mostly effective.
No, absolutely not. I was just giving you I was giving you a certain consumer journey. If you have to be very transactional, you can be extremely transactional depending on what if you're just generating leads, if you're just creating, then you have all those things skipping. I'm just saying that if you're saying from awareness, how do I know who came? It's like I put a hoarding outside here and my store is in our city. I don't know if the guys who are walking into my store, did they see this hoarding or did they see my print ad? That's the kind of confusion which is there in mainline. Here, even this is very measurable, that which guys who saw which content. But if I'm going into the actual closer to the end of the funnel, it's extremely measurable because you run your ads, everything is, every click to every next step and the next step is completely trackable. So I ran ads on Facebook. Out of so many people, so many came and so many transacted and it cost me so much. This was my cost per acquisition. Versus doing it on Google, this was my cost of acquisition. YouTube was this. Completely measurable. You will start fine-tuning your marketing budgets based on all that data. Very good.
Two questions. One is how do you see the whole C2C space in America? My question is how do you see the whole C2C space playing out? There's a lot of talk that people will now manufacture things at home or probably have their own thing and they will then sell directly to their consumer over say Facebook or Instagram. And would that be a very big democratizer, just like sharing spaces, democratize your business? And
so it opens up new opportunities for sure. Whether that will scale enough to disrupt business or trade itself, I doubt. I mean, it didn't start yesterday. eBay was one of the first players in that space. And eBay.com came about like several years back. And it allowed a user to go and put a product to sell, and it allowed other users to come and buy. Now, either you could be trading stuff or you could be making your own, brownies and selling on eBay. There's been around. And it's good for somebody who wants to work from home and make some money and all that. Whether, if you're making brownies at home and selling, whether it will disturb a big, organized brownie companies in the business, I doubt it today. But who knows? I mean, these are all disruptive spaces, so there's only so much that I speculate. But I don't think it's making such a huge impact.
Which platform you feel is the forerunner for this segment?
I think Instagram is very powerful today, but in some sectors you might even find Pinterest to be very interesting. So it depends. I mean, Facebook is always there. Facebook has a lot of marketplace offerings now. Amazon, you can put up their own sort of store. So there are all kinds of things. Depends on, again, you have to, for your category, you experiment, see where you get the best result, adopt that.
Just one more question. If you want to drive a large social change, where you change habits, you change how people are getting educated or how people are focusing on what they want in life, which would be the best platform?
It's not about platform, it's a strategy. It's about the strategy, it's about implementation of a strategy. And it's a very generic question. I don't think I have a generic answer to that. But I think it's all about creating the right strategy and then seeing it through. I think more often than not, we tend to see that what's not happening and give up. I think the question is to be sustainable.
I come from a social media intelligence group. So we do market research for other companies, social media market research for other companies. One thing that we often find is that when clients do shift, so there are multiple sources, there are automated softwares which can do platform, we can see the complete data on the platform and then just download the service. We take a more consumer-centric approach, we give insight from our end. But when we transition from, in more than often scenarios when they drop one client and come to us, the question that always comes to us is that the earlier client used to provide XYZ services, why can't you? But again, a lot of things come into play. The budget comes into play, all these comes into play. How can we communicate in a polite manner to the client that this is what we can give to you, and actually the reason you took us up was for something different that we provide.
I guess it's not a digital marketing strategy question, so it's a business question. I think all of us learn over time how to do our business communication better. I don't think it's something which is about digital. So
hi, my name is Raj, and we have medical healthcare related company which basically provides equipment online. We use Google AdWords quite a lot, and just that is another one related market retail customers. So that we use quite a lot, and we didn't mention here. So that is a little bit surprising. But the question was like when we use the Google AdWords marketing, if we have 100 impressions, we get 10 clicks, and then we get 1 convert. So how do we really? Is there any way to look at those 9? What exactly went wrong? Whether they were not interested but just clicked, or whether they were interested but they didn't find the pricing right, or something else. So is there any way to study, those which have failed conversions? Right? That's the question.
The Google AdWords analysis is a science by itself. There are a lot of things about literally what kind of string search words you have taken up for bidding. Once your search is, you've taken a search phrase, what is the copy of the ad you have associated with it? Once you have associated a certain copy, then it could change by just a change of one word here, one word there, you get better performance. After you got a person to click, where are you taking them? What is the landing page like? Is it a continuing story that what they search for, what they saw as an ad, and what they see on the landing page? Is there a continuing story there? And after that, of course, is there an interesting offering that you have to satisfy that search query? It's a whole step-by-step process, and when you have to see what is going on. Are you getting a lot of people all the way to the landing page and then they are not converting, they are not filling the form? Then somewhere the promise is getting broken at the landing page from what you started out with, right? Or people are clicking and just jumping, just bouncing back. Maybe what you wrote on the ad and the first landing page, the experience is completely different, because a lot of times people bid on a whole bunch of keywords and put the same landing page, which is not connecting to the particular keyword or particular phrase that they clicked on. So it can fail at various points, and like any other thing, we just need to analyze step by step and get there. So that's the other. Quickly, I think there are quite a few questions, and probably we don't have a lot of time. So whoever is asking, keep it short, just put the specific question. We don't need a lot of background, so we get the answer.
Okay, I came into this class actually not having my background of digital marketing at all. So I think 2.5 hours is, I still feel for us to understand everything is a little too short a time. Are there any media publications or magazines which have some case studies on a regular basis, which, because this industry changes so fast, which we can refer to, because when I came
so there is a podcast. So I love podcasts. Podcasts for me are cheat sheets. When I'm commuting to and from work, when I'm heading to meetings, putting my headphones on or listening to it in my car is like really beneficial because it saves me time. I don't have to spend time doing research. There's one podcast called Social Pros by Jay Baer, Jaybaer. Jay Baer Social Pros, Convince and Convert is what it's called. And there are tons of podcasts. You'll find tons of them. All of them having different objectives. All of them are having different lengths as well. So start with podcast. We'll give you a good idea in terms of what it is to and from. Social Pros by Jay Baer.
Hi, I'm Tanya. I have two questions. First is, at the start you mentioned that now is 66 million impressions. So I want to know what is that impressions and how does that get measured?
So an impression is measured by per 1,000 impressions. An impression essentially means every time there is a screen, whether it's a mobile screen or a desktop screen, as soon as that is shown to someone, as it is made visible in terms of the website page access. So backend page, assume that there is a page that is loading. The assumption is that there is someone who is loading said page. Once the page is loaded and in the screen that is there, it shows up. There's a way which it checks to say it's actually shown on the visible part of the screen. That counts as an impression. And measurement on digital happens per 1,000 impressions. That's how it generally works. Does that make sense? So imagine there's 100 people. That's your reach. My reach is 100 people. Okay, those 100 people visit a set of websites, out of it there is one website. Okay, on that particular website, when someone actually opens up that particular website and it shows up to that person, it's counted as an impression.
Simplify a little bit more. If you have an ad running on digital, the number of times that ad shows up for a person to see, it could be on any website. It's the sum total of that is the number of impressions it generated for people to see. Which is not the same as reach. Reach is about how many people are in there. So I could be one of the persons.
Now it's still, the kind of people like getting connected or like seeing it, but they don't trust. How do we, kind of that?
I think trust is won over time by performance of what your promise is. If you deliver what your promises, whether at the initial or in the digital, it's a more of this is but that's the point. I mean, if you promise the most healthy diet snack, you promise that I will deliver in 2 days after you order. You promise the best prices. Then all that experience, so like I said, I mentioned at the beginning of my introduction, we were selling Indian products to customers outside the country. And we put our tag as India's most reliable online store. The question was about reliability, and once you order, we'll go out of our way to make sure that you get what you ordered at the time which you be promised, all those things. So you live to a promise. You might have a tagline, and you live that tagline that generates trust. I think it's a business principle again, it's not about digital. Of course, if somebody walks into your store and engages with you on a one-on-one and the kind of trust that develops, it's obviously going to be different. But if it's a remote business, whether somebody writes to you from a newspaper ad or a letter that they got or digital, the winning of trust is about the next thing, how you actually deliver on your promise.
I think just one small thing. I think you have to trust that the medium will deliver for you and you have to be consistent on it. I think that is one reality for you to understand, because I think a lot of definitely MSME or SME entrepreneurs definitely have a challenge to say there's a lot of magic happening and people talk about it, but actually there's a actually value milega. There's a question that I think you really asked, right? The reality is that the answer we can give you is yes, definitely, but for that you have to have faith that it will deliver. And there are some principles which we've talked about today, which is understanding our audience, being consistent, recognizing what you want to really achieve, measuring across the board on various channels. You follow those specific principles, understand that the channel is going to deliver for you digital as a medium, then it will for sure. But I think if you do one-off experiments, if you do one-off campaigns, if you think that, okay, it's like basically if you say, ye kiya to wo milega, it's not like that, right? It's like any other, let's say,
although you have to create it.
Today, or you are already there in your, let's say, bucket, and ask them to give testimonials and reviews. The customers are very well aware of different brands and they want to try and test and they want to, buy the best brand. So they usually look at reviews, they look at the authenticity of the reviews, they look at all these other different levels of things. So probably having your customers, what we say, talk about you, bet on you is what will generate trust online for new customers who are not aware about your business.
It's just an extension of the question which has come. It ties on social media platforms and then it's been made. So at times, what is difficult for me as an entrepreneur to understand is that I've an ad running on Facebook, however, they don't leave a message there or fill up the forms, etc. But they wish to go back on the website, see more about us and then leave. that becomes a difficult part to then measure. Was it SEO effort, the reason why you got an inquiry? Yeah, is it like a paid effort or is that?
So if you have a website and you have on the website there is typically Google Analytics runs most of the time, and if you look at the analytics you can see the source of traffic. So there's an organic search source, there is inorganic, there is Facebook, there is ads. So you know exactly how much traffic came from which source. Actually there is a way to configure it further that after that what happened. So the deeper analytics thing is not just about where it came, but after that what happened, how many move forward. There are ways in which you can set goals on a page through Google Analytics. So how many people came to the shopping cart and out of that how many actually went forward. So you measure each point how the funnel is developing and which source generated the best quality funnel in terms of conversion.
So bottom line, you can measure across the board, you can measure all kinds of data, and I think someone else had a similar kind of question, right? So the only thing I can tell you is that for us, there is no ambiguity in measurement, there is no ambiguity in analytics in terms of from where it comes and what. My recommendation to pretty much everyone here is maybe spend a lot more time. Like before you begin, that's why we kept on harping on a few things, right? Plan, take your time, understand what you want to achieve, go step by step, look at what milestone that you want to achieve as a one-off kind of thing, and then understand the 3 or 4 things you actually want to measure, right? So I'm 100% sure that this question, yes, we have answers.
It's an extension of a question that she asked regarding trust. So you work a lot on mutual funds with AMFI, with Franklin Templeton, but with the current scenario, a lot of defaults coming in, the investor confidence has actually gone down. How do you actually work towards rebuilding that confidence? Because the current campaigns are not going to be working towards that. So how do you pivot towards that?
So you react to the time. So whether I can't tell you what is going to come about from AMFI or Franklin, but in scenarios like this, because there are times I don't want to talk about specific because it's future looking and I can't tell you what. But generally speaking, if your business hits some sort of a rough pocket and it may be due to you, maybe the crisis, something went wrong, or it was something which happened in an external factor which certainly impacted your industry, you have to evaluate that at this time, what do I need to tell my customer? Your communication changes. So while so far you were saying, for example, mutual fund sahi hai, now you start educating them as to what to do when markets are down. Do you get impulsive and start panicking and selling? Or in fact, it's a good time to find attractive buys and consolidate your average costing out or stay put or whatever. Like what is the whole science of investing in mutual fund and it's a long-term play or something? Maybe at one point you were saying, okay, let's get people to invest. Now it's a question of invested, markets will go up and down. I never told you it's going to be like an overnight thing. So let me educate. So it depends, it's basically you have to be responsive to the external scenarios and make changes in your communication.
Yeah, and just from a general business principle perspective, right? I think for each business owner you understand possible specific use case scenarios of either crisis or changes in customer behavior or some impact, right? So that's something that you have to spend time in planning as well, which is what we've done for almost all our clients. So it's not like we don't foresee markets going down. There are things that
markets going up and down is fine, but when you see events like defaults happening with ILNFS, with Z, and also that is where it really hits hard to the investors because every investor was
it's a crisis in this industry which happens once in a while. I mean, Cadbury had ants coming out of their chocolates and all that. It happens, so you have to overcome that, you have to fight it. I mean, it's like any other industry. So you react accordingly. I think most, ICICI, all of them came out with a clarity about the quota carrying came out and explained how it's working and all. That's a response.
Thank you.
Hi. So, just purely from the media space perspective, how do you see social media space right now? Is it too saturated, or there is a lot of scope of further evolution? Do you see there are more social media platforms possible with differentiated positioning still to come? Because mainly what you've listed is more of those A-list social media like Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. And I'm sure there are a lot of B-list social media like, let's say Pinterest, one example which I could not see here. So do you think there are a lot more such differentiated social media platforms still possible? Or is it still it's a very saturated?
So I mean, again,
Launching a social media platform. Sorry, launching a social media platform.
Are you launching a new one or something?
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. No, there is no end to this. It's a question that what we have at its core is a connected world. It's a world where people are on their mobiles and they're connected to each other. So there is obviously at any point of time a whole bunch of innovators trying to find some differentiated advantage to provide. And I mean, I can't say that, okay, this one is coming. There will be always something or the other coming. Which one catches traction, which one appeals to a certain base of people, all that is to be seen. For every one Facebook, I'm sure there are thousands which tried and failed. So, but innovation happens. But I mean, it's a conceptual, unless you're an investor in this space, it's a philosophical discussion. Whereas most people here want to say, okay, how do I benefit from my business, from digital marketing? Where today's platform where you get the best bang for money are the ones which we talk about.
My question was actually from, because you guys are into digital marketing, I mean, you are a digital marketing agency. So
I'll preempt your thought.
You find enough options.
I'm trying to rush it only because more people get a chance to ask the question. But my point is that we have a small team which constantly keeps looking at innovation, what new is happening. We don't go to clients with every new shiny object that we see out there. We wait for it to generate the right traction, the right kind of connect with a certain audience. Because finally, if I'm recommending the client to invest into a platform, I want to be sure that it's already reached a stage where it can deliver a certain ROI or certain differentiated value. And not all of them will deliver initially. We wait for it to mature. Having said that, our team constantly, of course, scouts the space to see what's coming up.
Thank you for your time. I work with Redis, the largest board meeting software provider in the country. Incidentally, Anfi is using our software for their board